to just quickly clarify and make sure we're on the same page and you understand the reasoning and the concept here that we're going to break down. So as it currently stands under the Social Brands Club community and under Classroom, we have this section here called Facebook Ads. Facebook Ads is comprised of a couple different sections. The first section is just stuff that helps you prepare to launch your ad account, like your page, your business manager, pixel, all that stuff. Where most of you probably spend a lot of your time is under this section here, how to launch your ads. And in this section here has our specific trainings on how to create deep research prompts and then launch our brand Bible or avatar Bible that has 5 different avatars. Each avatar has 5 different angles we can speak to. This is where we are going to create our prompts and launch them in our campaigns. That has its own training and sections and existing prompts. In this section here, the one that you're watching right now, we're going to be getting ready to launch a new kind of strategy and approach. This is supposed to work alongside the existing prompts and existing strategy. This is going to give you essentially back to the analogy I already used, which is the dots or the darts on the dartboard. The whole idea here is to teach you how to run a different approach of native copy. So this is going to be considered the direct Reddit. I'm not sure exactly what I named it. I forgot what I named it already, but this is going to be the direct Reddit storytelling approach. These next set of trainings will show you how to write a similar native ad structure, similar to what we've already written up here. But rather than traits that comprises of an avatar, we're actually going to be writing this next set of stories pulled directly and extracted directly from Reddit. And this is going to allow us to be different than what we already are doing here in this section. Well, in this section specifically creates story based off of avatars. Avatars are comprised of mass desire, pain points, shared experiences, and the way we prompt Google Gemini into Claude, it uses a little bit of deductive reasoning and guessing or assuming, right? So when we're comprising an avatar and creating that brand Bible, it's going to pull in stuff like Reddit and Facebook and YouTube to get feedback from customers, but it's also going to use deductive reasoning and Claude reasoning to comprise and construct an avatar. It does this based off of additional resources like market trends, articles, peer-reviewed articles, and it uses a little bit of context to try to create an avatar. So the 5 avatars that is created from our research Bible or brand Bible is built off of an idea that exists in the market, but now is constructed to be an elevated avatar, right? Now, why is that important? What relation does that have? Well, an avatar allows us to speak and create copy with unique character distinctions. I'm gonna give you an example in just a moment, but these unique character distinctions written by Claude can be assumed, but it hasn't directly been exported one-to-one. So let me show you an example. You can go on the SBC course master document, which by the way, to get access to this, you literally just click on any other training and you'll see resource document here and the original trainings are still there. And if I go under the troubleshooting under here, you'll see that under troubleshooting and scroll a little bit, we have an example of one of my best performing ad copies, right? So I've had a couple different ad copies that have done well. This was for a U-shaped toothbrush back in the day. And there are some distinct characteristics about this ad copy that is centered around an avatar specifically. So you can read through this, but I'm going to highlight some stuff here. So let me scroll here a little bit and let me highlight something that's important and distincts this training here. So a distinction about avatars is that they have specific unique character traits that align with them and allows us to create these clear distinctions. So for this example here, right? So this dentist at our private practice pulled me aside and said, whatever device is, every family in Greenwich needs one. I just mentioned that bedtime takes 12 minutes now, total, both teeth included. She stared at me like I said we discovered time travel. Here's what you need to understand. I run a venture capital firm. I've optimized everything in my life. Our home runs on systems. The Tesla schedules its own service. The fridge orders groceries. Our calendar sync. So this is a part of, this is the hook. And then this brings us into the lead here. The lead is to mirror, right? When we're creating a story, we need to mirror the shared experiences of our target audience. This is avatar. This is a piece of copy written speaking to a specific avatar. There are unique character traits that only align with this particular avatar. So if I was also selling a YouTube toothbrush and I wanted to speak to a more affluent, rich avatar, this is how I would describe or write the copy. But let's say I'm a parent and I have children that have braces, but maybe I'm not affluent. I would create a new type of copy that wouldn't highlight these things that obviously would not resonate with the target audience. At the end of the day, this copy is designed to speak to a parent that has children, that has braces, that struggle with brushing their teeth. But avatar testing or creating an avatar and creating copy from that avatar allows me to highlight specific character traits and distinctions that only align with this avatar. After all, an avatar is a formula. It's comprised of mass desires, pain points, failed experiences, and specific character functions and features that align with that specific person. So if I was rich, this story would resonate with me. If I was poor, the story would not resonate with me, despite the same end goal and the same desire, which is to get your child to brush your teeth and not have a massive fight at night, right? So I hope you guys are understanding this is what makes an avatar and avatars, these small detailed distinctions, right? And throughout the story, you'll find other things that align with that. Most of the avatar testing will be in the hook and the lead though. Obviously that's what's going to keep the person reading. From that point on, a lot of the foundational stuff will be the same, despite whether you're writing with an avatar story or the alternative, which I'll share with you in a moment here. Now, without even realizing it, back to this troubleshooting story, if you look at this troubleshooting story, sorry, it's not considered a troubleshooting story, but if you look at this other wooden copy, I don't have those same distinctions, right? So you can read through this. I discovered why European kids have 73% fewer cavities than American kids. It has nothing to do with sugar. It's the toothbrush they're allowed to sell. This revelation came at 2:34 a.m. after my third glass of wine, staring at my laptop screen through tears because I just got an estimate for my son Oliver's dental work. 2,500, 6 cavities, he was 5. All right, so you're going to see that as we continue to read here, there's no distinction between the person that's reading this, right? And obviously we know that they're a parent and they have a child, but there's nothing detailed oriented. There's nothing that addresses this as an actual avatar, a specific avatar, right? Technically this is an avatar, but it's not like a specific avatar like we established with our brand Bibles. So I hope you guys understand those two distinctions, right? An avatar is going to have specific features, characteristics, and things that align with them that resonate with their character and who they are as a person. The alternative is not having that. And that's allowing us to create what we call direct response. Well, I mean, it's considered direct response marketing, but this is like basically general mass desire testing, right? The difference there could be the difference between whether you're seeing results or not. And ultimately speaking, one isn't inherently better than the other, right? Both of these copies worked for me. Both of them I scaled really well, and they did really well. And it's the idea though is that I'm trying to help you guys understand and establish and have yourself get as many opportunities to be successful with your current product. And what I find is that for some of you, it can make sense to test with this strategy first or second, or vice versa. Ultimately speaking, we want to give yourself as many opportunities to create different types of native copy that can ultimately perform better for you, right? I'm trying to avoid the cookie cut. Everybody writes the same structure, same script, and then hopefully it works for some of you, hopefully it doesn't work for others, right? So I want to clarify something though. The avatar and the specific details that we use to highlight that avatar is heavily highlighted in the hook and in the beginning section of the story in the lead, right? That's when it's the most important, because that's going to keep the person reading if they feel like this is written specifically for them. But we still have, throughout the rest of the story, we still have specific desires, pain points, and things that align with this specific person. I'm selling to a parent that has a child with braces to sell this U-shaped toothbrush. That's one person I can sell to. I also could have sold to just an adult in general that wants the toothbrush for themselves. They maybe have coffee stains or whatever, right? So just so you understand, there's distinctions between who we're speaking to, but how we speak to them and what specific things we highlight early on in the story matters, right? That's what I'm trying to stress. Now, why am I bringing this up and why is this now being added to the course? Well, in some cases, some of you might actually be creating copy that highlights and speaks to an avatar too granular, meaning there's not enough of a big enough net that you're casting. You're creating such nuanced, specific characters that doesn't resonate with a big enough group of people on Facebook. So when your ad is being displayed and shown, Facebook is struggling to find these small pockets. It's also why sometimes, not always, but sometimes you can actually see some good performance early on because Facebook deployed your very niched avatar ad in a pocket of people that resonated with it. And then as it started to expand, which was what Facebook does, the newer pockets of people on Facebook, it doesn't resonate anymore, right? So you can be speaking to a big enough pain point. But if you then have a small avatar, your avatar is testing and the details about your avatar is just too small and doesn't resonate with a big enough person or a big enough group of people, that can actually shoot you in the foot. And it's also be one of the reasons why your messaging isn't resonating or staying consistent and profitable. So I just want to clarify some points here. All right, clarify some points. So 1, it's important that we understand the general mass desire we are tackling in our marketing. Okay. We still want to speak to a certain type of person, but in some cases, our current testing approach might be limiting us. So keep in mind, when we go through the course and we create a brand Bible, we go through the course and create a brand Bible, we're going to get 5 avatars. So in testing, you'll find that maybe the avatar that you have is just too granular. So logically, just test a new avatar, right? You can continue to do that. Test 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 avatars and try to make sure the avatars you're going after has a big enough audience. So that could just simply be the solution, and you could just continue using the existing scripts that already exist. But some of you might really be struggling with your avatars, and after all, Claude does formulate an avatar. It uses data to do it, but it still projects and guesses what that avatar is. So you can give it data and feedback, and it's going to make a pretty good guess and assumption of what that avatar is and creating that avatar identity. But at the end of the day, if you're testing, you're finding that those avatars are not working, you need to try a different approach. And this is what I'm trying to deploy here, is an alternative approach to writing and testing your ad copy and testing a slightly different approach. And it simply comes down to those two distinctions, right? There's the world of this copy where it's like highlighting specific things that align with your specific avatar. And then there's this approach here where we're kind of just casting a wider net, and we're not limiting how favorable this ad could be by putting too many specific avatar traits that align with a group of people, that ultimately can limit how much our ad can resonate with more people. Because I could read this copy or this copy, and again, to the point that I mentioned, if I'm poor and I don't resonate with these things, I'm not going to keep reading the ad, and that could be one of the issues that's slowing down your conversions. So this is important that we are ensuring that we're casting, we're testing the different variations of different types of ads we can create. I almost wouldn't even call this a variation. These are completely different. What I'm going to show you is a completely different approach to how we write copy currently. Now, here's a series of questions I'm going to get. 1, Okay, and maybe it makes sense to show you guys first, and then I'll actually answer the question. So that's what I'll do. We'll go through the approach and show you an alternative piece of copy using Reddit scraping, and then we'll start talking about all the questions that you're probably gonna wonder, like when should I deploy this versus this one? When do I know it's time to test this copy, or should I test this one first or the next one? Should I create angles from it? We're gonna answer all those questions in the next set of trainings. But I hope you guys just understand the general understanding and the general concept here is that an avatar has specific character traits about them that make them unique to themselves. And the value, by the way, just to reiterate this, the value in doing this is that a lot of times this is what we want to do on Facebook. Due to the sheer number of advertisers on Facebook, a lot of the times it's not enough to just say, hey, if your teeth is yellow and you want them to be whiter, get this product, right? Obviously, the copy in the story would be much more detailed than that, but that's the premise, right? There's no real distinction in this copy. There's no, away from us knowing that this is apparent, the avatar themselves, the only real pain points that we highlight is that the child, fights back and forth, but we aren't spending too much time actually highlighting and mirroring the pain and the specific scenario that this avatar has. Right, we're not doing the biggest job of that, and that in some cases could be good, in other cases that cannot be good. Right, so I'm gonna copy because I know some of you guys will want to see this copy too and read this. So let's copy this bad boy here, and we call it story number 2, and this is going to be avatar copy. Right, so this is going to be copy, like I mentioned again, reiterates the importance of. Hold on, what happened to the story? It's right here. So in a lot of cases, this is good. This is why this is the first section that we teach and train you guys on in the Facebook section, because due to the sheer volume and competition there is in the market, you're going to get a lot of times drowned out if your ad doesn't resonate with a specific person, right? The average person sees, I don't even remember, it's like a ridiculous amount of ads. We actually quickly look it up. How many ads does the average person see a day? All right. Oh man, so while 4,000, 10,000 figure represents total daily exposure, many marketing experts suggest that consumers exposed to anywhere between 4,000 to 10,000 ads daily. So that's a ridiculous amount of ads, right? And even if we're more conservative, let's just say 900, let's just cut that number drastically down, even 900 ads a day. That is a lot. So the ads that are more personal, that speak to an avatar and a person specifically and has shared unique experiences, it's the equivalent of let's say there was a very, like for those of you that speak a different language, if there was a dropshipper that spoke your specific language, let's say Spanish, and there's a dropshipper like me, but they spoke Spanish, you'd probably go work with them instead of me because they speak your language, they have shared experiences, shared culture that resonates with them more specifically. Assuming they're a one-to-one copy of me, right? Like assuming they have the same values and the same trainings and teachings and have the same standard. If they were in Spanish, you'd go work with them because you can resonate with them more. And I know that's a language example, so obviously that makes logical sense. But I hope you guys get the concept that people gravitate towards people that they can resonate with. And when they see a specific scenario or situation that they also experience themselves, they're far more likely to convert. Now, like I said, right? So if that's the case, Alex, why are you introducing this other alternative copy? Sometimes we create too specific of a story, too specific of a character trait that isn't big enough and applicable enough to enough people in the market space. So that knowing that is important because that nuance and that difference is gonna help indicate, okay, do I need to test maybe a bigger cast a wider net and then re-narrow it back down the line when my copy is converting well, or vice versa. So there's a lot of decisions you're gonna need to make. My goal is to help you make those decisions, kind of show you what I would do, and then from there you're gonna just need to use a little bit of brain power to decipher this for yourself, right? If you hopefully you understand the first principles of what I'm trying to teach, and then from there you can then go on out and tackle things as you see fit. All right, so let's get into the strategy itself. I'll have time afterwards for Q&A for as much information I can think of that you probably would have questions on that I feel like aren't as clear, and then we can go from there.